Hello, Trinidad and Tobago, viewers from the wider Caribbean and the world. Welcome to the 2020 virtual graduation ceremony for the St. Augustine campus of the University of the West Indies. My name is Ainka Will, and it is my pleasure to be speaking to you from the lovely grounds at the Principal's Office, the UWI St. Augustine campus. The wonders of technology allow us to have a truly global experience, with some of our speakers zooming in from all over the Caribbean and your viewers looking on from all over the world. Today we honor the graduates of the Faculty of Humanities and Education. I know so many of you are eagerly awaiting the celebration of your friends, family and loved ones. This year's ceremony is with a difference, a hybrid of sorts. You will see the St. Augustine campus in all its splendor. I trust that you'll be inspired by the words of University Chancellor Robert Bermudez, the Honorary graduates, and the Valedictorians, some of UWI St. Augustine's truly amazing students. There'll also be cultural presentations, including musical performances from many of the campus's talented artists. 2020 marks the 60th anniversary of the St. Augustine campus, and though it has been a challenging year, it is also a significant milestone for this institution. Think about it. The UWI St. Augustine has served the world by developing human capital for some 6 decades. That is quite the legacy. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Students, past and present, all faculty and staff, Caribbean society, and our international audience. This is the UWI St. Augustine 2020 graduation for the Faculty of Humanities and Education. Enjoy!
Congratulations to the 2020 graduating class of the University of the West Indies. Today is the day that you've been working towards, and perhaps you've been dreaming about even before you actually began your classes. I want you to know that today is equally important to us as university administrators. Graduation, you see, is cherished as one of the most anticipated, exciting, and meticulously planned events on our annual university calendar. While this particular edition has required a reimagining of many of the traditional and most enjoyed highlights, we proudly commend you for your resilience in transitioning, and you have done remarkably well throughout this pandemic. Today is your day. Your degree is being conferred. This is your graduation. Relish the moment in the comfort and safety of your homes with your loved ones as one of the many positives. And as you celebrate today, I hope you make memories and project your Pelican pride to the whole world. I take this opportunity to salute the network of support that has stood behind you throughout your sojourn at the UWI, knowing very well that they take as much pride and perhaps even more pride in this milestone as well. Just as over the past 7 decades where generations of UWI Pelicans took flight, so too you, as members of the class of 2020, will take flight. You are especially entrusted to demonstrate the continued intellectual development of the region as the first post-COVID-19 generation of alumni. The university community is so very proud of you and is rooting for your success. Enjoy today and enjoy the journey ahead. Let the celebration begin.
Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, Mr. Robert Bermudez, Vice Chancellor, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Campus Principal, Professor Brian Copeland, Honorary graduates, university executives and other members of staff, graduates, distinguished guests. Welcome to the 2020 virtual presentation of graduates of the University of the West Indies. I am Sharon Christopher, Chair of the Council of the UWI St. Augustine campus. I have the honor of guiding you through these virtual proceedings. Today, we celebrate and congratulate our graduates across the region and the world. I now invite the Chancellor, Mr. Robert Bermudez, to address you.
Vice Chancellor, members of the university leadership and colleagues, graduating class of 2020, greetings. This graduation ceremony is different from what we usually expect. While I deeply regret that our traditional ceremony of your academic accomplishments is not possible, this is a special event in your lives, and we are hoping to treat it with the significance and importance it deserves. There's a certain joy that you experience being able to share, being recognized by your fellow graduates, by the university community, and your families. The virtual world does not allow this. It does not allow me to salute each one of you individually. I hope that this message will convey my pride in your stellar accomplishments during a year of many challenges. My warmest congratulations to each one of you in the graduating class of 2020. In saluting you, I also pay tribute to your families and loved ones who supported you through these strange times. Your success is also their success, and I ask you to acknowledge and celebrate their love, support, and care. During the year that you completed your studies, the university adapted its teaching and learning approaches to deal with the public health challenge. The transition to emergency remote teaching was achieved through collaboration. Our technical teams, academic staff, and administrative teams worked together, coordinated by the leadership of the campuses and the university. As a whole, they ensured that teaching and learning and all the processes that supported you could continue. I thank them for their commitment, and I believe that your achievement is a validation of their tremendous effort. Over this year, we have seen some powerful countries in the world brought to a standstill by a virus. Economies have been devastated, industries severely impacted, and communities set back. Many lives have been lost, and life as we know it has changed. The pandemic has exposed the inequalities in our societies and the weaknesses in our economic systems. But it has also highlighted the work of our heroes and heroines, whose dedication to service may never have been recognized without it. This year, too, we've seen a resurgence in the Black Lives Matter movement, a phenomena that has transcended borders, social and economic differences, and ethnic groups. I am proud that many of our students participated in activities organized across the region. I believe that this clearly signals that activism is alive among our student body, and I urge you to keep that solidarity in the forefront of your consciousness as you go forward with your lives. Across the Caribbean, 2020 was a year when we celebrated our democracy. There have been free and fair elections in Bermuda, Jamaica, Suriname, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Belize, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, and St. Kitts and Nevis. We congratulate all of our brothers and sisters on this achievement. Our region stands as a proud beacon of democracy, and the University of the West Indies has played a pivotal role in its development. The responsibility now falls on your shoulders as the next graduating class to keep our democratic traditions strong and vibrant. Contributing countries and their governments are an integral part of this institution. They provide the funding and resources to maintain it. And some of you are beneficiaries of government scholarships. Your countries have demonstrated their confidence in you. And I encourage you to demonstrate your sense of responsibility through service to your country. You will be needed in the days and months ahead as the region builds its new reality. Our collective capacity to respond to global challenges begins with knowledge, creativity, and innovation. You are now part of that process going forward, and I urge you to become agents of change in your chosen fields and in your communities. Universities have a fundamental role to play in the creation and communication of knowledge. Universities are expected to advance informed and ethical action through the identification of challenges and opportunities for the societies in which they serve. There has been a call for universities globally to help shape the post-COVID world based on values that include democracy, human rights, social justice, inclusion, and equity. We have seen evidence of this in the response by our students, alumni, and faculty to the call for direct assistance to people in need through the provision of healthcare services, in research being conducted, and the remarkable transition to an online environment. I must commend the UWI COVID-19 Task Force for the sterling work that they have done and continue to do to help the region contain and respond to the pandemic. Notwithstanding these initial points of pride, there is still much to be done. I urge you to build on the civic spirit, the social solidarity, and the sharing of technical expertise that has already been demonstrated. Look towards the future, past COVID-19. Your graduating class is evidence that what has been achieved with care and collaboration, underpinned by the knowledge provided and encouraged by this academy. Extend this ethos into all that you do in the future. Be active and engaged citizens. Be engaged alumni. Contribute to the University of the West Indies in any way in which you are comfortable. Continue to pursue knowledge. Indulge your creativity and innovativeness. Build a better future for yourselves and for your communities. Your future is bright. Congratulations. We are met today in order that we may mark by a formal ceremony the entry of certain members into the company of graduates and the academic achievement of others. As a university, we are an academic society of undergraduates, bachelors, masters, and doctors, and we follow the academic tradition in the pursuit of knowledge and the encouragement of learning. The purposes which are laid out in the preamble to the Royal Charter by which we have been granted the powers needful for the prosecution of our affairs. In pursuing these aims, our members advance from time to higher standing in the academic community, and it is proper that as a body we should celebrate their achievement. We do this by granting a degree or diploma or license or certificate, and we rejoice with our graduates in their advancement.
Chancellor, I now ask the public orator, Professor Christine Carrington, to present Mr. Paul Keane Douglas, whom the Senate and the Council of the University have been pleased to recommend for the award of the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa.
Chancellor, across the Caribbean, good manners demand that the storytellers seek permission before telling a story. Since this story was invited, we can take it that the response to the request Tim Tim would be a resounding bois sec. The intention is only to say good things, but I take it in front before in front take me. So, tout ça qui bon, bon Dieu mette à sous la terre. Right. Paul Keane Douglas is one of the Caribbean's most talented and beloved poets and storytellers. People really like him. For 45 years, he has been showing us ourselves in our own voice, connecting us, helping us to understand who we are and keeping our culture alive. Paul was born in Trinidad to Grenadian parents, but spent most of his early life in Grenada, where he attended St. George's Methodist School and Presentation Boys College. He was generally a reserved child, preferring to listen and observe, kind of quiety like his mother. He had a literary bent and from an early age fell in love with the stage. In that regard, taking after his father, an outgoing storytelling, tap-dancing theatre man who played sax and violin. Paul Keane Douglas intended to pursue law after high school. That involved plenty talking and a set of drama, so he would have been good at that. However, he would have had to repeat one of his sixth form subjects, and he really wasn't able with that. So instead, he completed diplomas in commercial broadcasting and radio TV production from Announcer Trading Studios and RCA Institutes of New York. He then earned a bachelor's in sociology from Sir George Williams University and completed 2 years of graduate study at Mona before transferring to our St. Augustine campus. In 1975, inspired by the great Louise Bennett, and enthralled with the freedom, flexibility, and scope of the vernacular, he decided to try his hand at writing in dialect. With that, Tanti at the Oval was born, and his career took off. And that was the end of the UWI degree. He never finished it. He then published When Moon Shine, the first of 9 self-published books, and started the Tim Tim storytelling shows. His pieces paint vivid pictures of Caribbean life, including folklore, comic tales of everyday events, reflections and commentary on current affairs and cricket. Well-known gems include A Fire de Work, Sugar George and Pan Rap. In 1983, he launched the first Talk Tent, a forum for oral traditions where talk is art. He has performed across the region and in various metropolitan countries, entertaining and educating audiences with his signature wit and insight. He has produced over 30 recordings, and in addition to his own books, his works appear in prominent anthologies and have been published in German, French Creole, and Japanese. He has been featured on UK, Canadian, and US radio and television and across Caribbean media. A former creative director, he also functions as a motivational speaker, presenter, and facilitator in communication skills. Paul Keane Douglas has reinforced storytelling as a respectable art form and consistently demonstrates both the validity and value of our vernacular for artistic expression. He has received dozens of awards and honors from local, regional, and international bodies, including the Caribbean American Intercultural Organization Award, the Zora Neale Hurston Award, the Beryl McBurney Foundation for the Arts Award, a Trinidad and Tobago Hummingbird Medal Silver, and the President's Award. He was also appointed Poet Laureate of Trinidad and Tobago 2017 to 2019. Chancellor, Crick Crack, Wire Ben, Story Ed. For his contributions to culture and the arts, I present Mr. Paul Tim Keynes Douglas and ask that by the authority vested in you by the Council and Senate of the University of the West Indies, you confer on him the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa.
Mr. Paul Keynes Douglas. By the authority vested in me by the Senate and Council of the University of the West Indies, I now confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa, of the University of the West Indies.
I now invite Dr. Paul Keynes Douglas to deliver a performance.
Hello there, graduates. You know, storytellers always like to let you know they're telling a story. That's why we say once upon a time, it is story time. In the French islands, St. Lucia, Dominica, they say, Tim, voices, story time. Spaniards say, había una vez, story time. Grenadians say, we're selling it as we buy it, story time. Jamaicans say, Jack Mandara me not choose none, story time. Journalists say, reliable sources, story time. Politicians say, if elected, story time. And nowadays we say, fake news, story time. So anytime you hear any of those things, it is story time. And this evening, this afternoon, this beautiful day it is story time for all you graduates because you are the beginning of your own story. And you can tell how well your story is going according to what you do in that story. But one thing I can tell you, to be a success at anything you do, you must love it. You must have a passion for it. Take me, for instance. When I was growing up, West Indian parents did not like their children to become things like comedians or comics. No mother wanted to introduce her son like this. Meet my son, the clown. But if you're an engineer, or a doctor, or a lawyer, interior decorator, composer, anything with was all right. So I became a storyteller. And here I am today. Yes, people say to me, Paul Keynes, all these years you're telling these stories up and down the Caribbean. What is the biggest challenge we have in getting anything done in the Caribbean? And I always say, boy, communication. Communication. I mean, just think of all the different accents we have. Grenadian, Vincentian, Dominican, Trinidadian, Jamaican, Nevisian, Monstratian, you have Caymanian accent, you have Bahamian accent, you have uptown accent, downtown accent, you don't have accent by accident. So you see the problem we have when we say we are communicating. Sometimes we don't even understand each other. Grenadians say prefer, Vincentians say prefer. Arguing prefer, a Trinidadian passing. They say, Trini, come tell us, boy, what is the word prefer or prefer? He say, boy, personally, I prefer. You know what I mean? And as you go up the road, it get worse. St. Vincent people say either, Jamaicans say either. Arguing either. A Bajan passing. Well, Bajans feel they talk the best. They say they have the best accent in the whole world. They argue with either. They say, Baj, come man, tell us, what is the word either? Or either, hear the Baj man, either. So you see how the communication become a real problem? Because what we say sometimes is not what we are saying. We say things that reverse back. I'm feeling well sick. I'm a little big. Hear people saying we're going to have a brief summary. And what I like best, government say they have negative growth. Now, what is negative growth? That when government gets less worse. But we handle our problems. Because in spite of all the challenges, we are really going to handle them, and we can't handle them if we know what we're doing, So I'm going to do this thing because there are two institutions that really, over the years, have brought us together and kept us together. The University of the West Indies and the West Indies cricket team. These two institutions have kept the West Indies together. So I'm going to pay a little tribute to them right now. It's called Master Batsman. Bring on the fastest man you got. I'm declaring war today. Bring on all your spinners. I'm treating them same way. Me cap pull down, me collar up, me pads they buckle tight. I playing for West Indies. It's fight, I come to fight. I play in every stroke. They got the drive, the cut, the hook. And even some you wouldn't find in any cricket book. You could put 10 men to field and slips. Hey, that don't bother me. And if I was you, I'll put 10 more on every damn boundary. Because when you see I start to hit, it's only 4-1-6. No matter what the ball you bowl, this batsman sharing licks. I make the Indian bowlers cry. Australia, that was fit. And the blows you put on England, they ain't recover yet. Me cap pull down, me collar up, me pads the buckle tight. I playing for West Indies, is fight I come to fight. I play ball and merit. I don't lose my cool. I don't throw in my wicket, me nobody fool. Because when you see I cover up, not a bowler getting through. So his point is bowling umpire is LBW. What's me I use my feet to get behind the ball? It's a simple one they toss up that make a wicket fall. Hey, short ball, bouncer, googly, all the same to me. I read them bowlers like a book and blade them equally. And when I catch them slacking off, I twitch them with disdain. Crack, right to the covers. If you put your hand, hey, it's pain. Boy, you got to be brave to stop my ball because I gives it all I got. So when you see it coming, boy, you know it coming hot. Hey, me cap pull down, me collar up, me pads the buckle tight. I playing for West Indies. It's fight I come to fight. Hey, no, man. I playing cricket for my small. Win ball and six aside. With broomstick handle in the street when police come behind. We never used to wear no shoes, wearing pads. Hey, man, that was joke. And my foot still have the marks from where I missed my strokes. And when was cricket on the beach was coconut branch for bat. And the stumps was somewhat squeezing case. But it's cricket, I can tell you that. Boys ball left, girls bat right. The umpire was in the sea. And as far as I can recall, that's where cricket start for me. Me cap pull down, me collar up, me pads the bucket tight. I playing for West Indies. It's fight I come to fight. Big man that start to tremble when I walk towards the crease. See them rearrange the field like they're trying to catch some thief. But my fans just chant and carry on when they hear me can stand. And every time I blade a ball in, that is man. And when I decide to thief, I run. It ain't got nothing fast like me. And if my partner slacking off, he's a sure run out for he. I take off down that pitch like a bat straight out of hell. And when you see I run that run, it's a run that well run well. Me cap pull down, me collar up, me pads the buckle tight. I playing for West Indies. It's fight I come to fight. Umpires all respect me and my integrity. I know the game, I read the rules. They can't put one on me. And if by chance, some lucky fluke, they get me out some way. I mean, the grace with which I leave a field is like I know come out to play. The umpire word is final, I shout it loud and clear. And I walk to the pavilion, my head up in the air. My cap pull down, my collar up, my pads the buckle tight. I playing for West Indies. It's fight I come to fight. All you only laughing when you hear me talk. Hey, well, one day I got proof to you that this ain't no skylark. I love my game of cricket, boy. That is my pride and joy. And I could say anything I want, you know why? Because I'm only the water boy. Quick crap, wire bends, Dorian. Enjoy the rest of your graduation.
Sir, the persons whose names will be called having studied in the University of the West Indies and having fulfilled the requirements of the University of the West Indies beg leave to be presented to you and to the Senate of the University by the representative of the Faculty of Humanities and Education as Bachelor of Arts, Fine Arts, or Bachelor of Education, or as holders of diplomas or certificates of the University of the West Indies. Sir, the Dean, Faculty of Humanities and Education, Dr. Heather Ketu.
Sir, my colleagues and I ask you to receive as graduate members of our society these persons who, having fulfilled the requirements of the university, have been admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Fine Arts, or Bachelor of Education, or have been awarded diplomas or certificates of this university.
By the authority vested in me, I receive these persons whose names are about to be called as graduate members of our society and confirm first degrees, diplomas and certificates of this university.
With first-class honours, Laila Abdul Latif. With first-class honours, Naraya Alfred. With first-class honours, Alyssa Ali. With first-class honours, Keithan Allen. Oduduwa Aluku, Jade Antoine, Amanda Arjun. With first class honours, Olyenka Ashby, Ornella Augustine. With first class honours, Danique Bailey. With first class honours, Vinaya Balbir Singh. With first class honours, Segal Bascombe, Jacob Beckles. With first class honours, Renalia Bedesi, Nicolette Benjamin, Christopher Best, Cynthia Bajan, Alyssa Bimlal, Destiny Blanc, Jordan Briggs, Leah Brown, Maya Bruce, Russell Bino, Ismael Cameron. With first class honours, Alan Chan, Kadian Chatu, Andy Tokolingo, Chanel Cialto, Celeste Clark. With first class honours, Leah Clark, Sachar Clement, Sarah Clemente Simpson, Joshua Clifton, Abigail Caldero, Gianluca Collingwood, Jolene Cummings, Leah Dandrade, Adil Datu, Romaine David, Caitlin de Gazon. With first class honours, Carissa Douglas, Micah Fields, Affie Ford Hobson, Samani Fraser, Zariah Gabriel, Lydia Gayadine, Jelani Grant. With first class honours, Elizabeth Gray, Moesha Gray. With first class honours, Kaije Graves, Teresa Marie Griffith, Victoria Guevara, Selena Guran, Colleen Hector. With first class honours, Rachel Henry, Traverne Henry, Jean-Paul Henry, Carl Hines, Karen Holder, Risa Hossain, Kezia Huggins, Onisha Hughes. With first class honours, Leon Ince, Mayana Innes, Cassie Jagmohan, Rachel James, Ansel John, Nasaya John, Sastine Jugun. With first class honours, Michael Joseph. With first class honours, Natasha Joseph. With first class honours, Samantha Joseph. Tanisha Joseph. Leanne Jupiter. Rion Kendall. Amanda Lakicharan. Neil Lachman. Letitia Lawrence. Michael Lawrence. With first class honours, Shane Leakett. Tuliet Lendor. Melissa Lewis. Milano Lewis. Regine Lockhart. With first class honours, Ariane Lopez. Bethula Lord. With first class honours, Charlize Luke. With first class honours, Natalia Manette. Shanice Martin. Cheyenne Marta. Giselle Matthew. With first class honours, Akib Mohammed. With first class honours, Nishad Mohammed. With first class honours, Riyad Mohammed. With first class honours, Shana Mohammed. Sasha Mohammed Blandin. Skylar Mohan. Zara Montoot. Kaya Mulrain. Anila Molzak. Samantha Nanan. Rayan Nayan. Andy Noel. Lennon Ogaro. With first class honours, Avian Ogilvy. With first class honours, Shelby Uttar. Camille Paris. With first class honours, David Paris. Rhianne Patterson. Kenisha Paul. Balchan Prasad. Nirvana Prasad. Justin Phillip. Siobhan Pear. Joy Marie Poon Angaran. Brandon Punwasi. Shael Prescott. Megan Radhe. Alexandria Rajkumar. Angelia Ramdeen. Michaela Ramnath. Kirsten Rampasad. Kiran Ramtahal. Carissia Richards Berkeley. Aquino Romaine, Jandel Romani, Mintra Saith, Sarah Samaru. With first class honours, Andrew Samlal, Vandana Sami. With first class honours, Chelsea Sanchez. With first class honours, Eileen Savage, Cavell Seals, Safia Shah. With first class honours, Michael Solomon, Nicole Sukai. With first class honours, Sonali Suknanan, Elion Saint-Hilaire, Leah Marie Swamba, Micah Talisford Phillip, Arnetia Thomas, Elizabeth Timothy. With first class honours, Kareem Tinto. With first class honours, Siobhan Tull, Ryan Umrah, Janice Vialva. With first class honours, Antonio Wallace, Nicholas Wallen, Anton Williams. With first class honours, Chriselle Williams. With first class honours, Chantel Williams, Jadine Wilson, Cyan Wilson, Kristen Wooding, Beverly Charles Jordan, Crystal Grant, Atkins Edwards,
Curlette Boney,
Fidela Carter, Kaya Edwards, Isaiah George, Jewel Jack, Kwesi Joseph, Linnell Langaini, Zenobia Montoot Dick, Salima Sukur, Aliyah Thomas, Ariella Allen, Leonard Lewis, Josanne Modeste,
Shona Assoum, Selena Balbosa, Amrika Bawani Singh, Nishana Bola, Ariel Bord, Jillian Bradshaw, Tanel Brown, Gabriella Charles, Deshelle Charles Thomas. With first class honours, Chloe Emmanuel, Joshua Gill, Saloni Abil, Delissa Harper. With first class honours, Daisha Henry, Kafisha Hercules, Shalisha Hossein Singh, Carrie-Ann Jofield, Genevieve Johnson, Kajal Kanhai, Teresa Mahon, Tonya Melanie Manette, Olivia McCain, Shanika Modest, with first class honors, Phaedra Mohammed, with first class honors, Daisha Oliver, Rayon Philip, Maranatha Rego, Nayoka Russell Lashley, Daniela Samari, with first class honors, Catherine Sigobi, Vishasha Sudas, Wendy Simon Durant, Reshma Sinanan Ramba Rose, Rachel Singasia, with first class honors, Sarah Suku, Minacha Taylor, Joanna Wells, Alyssa Wickham, with first class honors, Victoria Woodley, Quailan Ali Saunders, Renicia Bertrand, Nika Celestin, Solange Del Pino, Katiana Fraser, Shamia Isaac, Adelphia Lalion, Nishala Latren, Annalisa Lewis, Diana Manson, Cindy Ramdani, Alicia Richardson, Soraya Sukhdev, Neil Ramsawak.
I now call upon Mr. Kiche Lejean Graves, Bachelor of Arts, Musical Arts Special, with first class honors, to deliver the valedictory address.
Chancellor, Mr. Robert Bermudez, Vice Chancellor, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, Chair, Campus Council, Ms. Sharon Christopher, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Campus Principal, Professor Brian Copeland, honorary graduates, university executives, and other members of staff, fellow graduates, and distinguished guests, good afternoon. I stand here filled with gratitude to God, without whom I would have honestly been unable to stand here today. To be UWI, to have Pelican pride, to be a UWI alumni, what do such titles mean for a Caribbean youth? Having grown up in a household led by a UWI graduate, #mom, and being exposed to a social environment where UWI graduates were among the most frequent of the tertiary class, to be UWI seemed to be ordinary. I unfortunately suffered from Caribbean self-hate syndrome. Indeed, I thought of my former mindset when I heard the recent words of Prime Minister Mia Mottley of Barbados, when she said, and I quote, "There is a barrier I was born into. There is a barrier that every small islander inherits, especially after colonialism, and it is the barrier of self-contempt." Indeed, having gone through UWI, Not only have I gained a greater self-awareness of my destructive former mindset, but I could affirm to all that this University of the West Indies is pure stress, pure pressure, but nonetheless, an ideal path through which one can attain 21st century excellence. My fellow graduates, we sit today behind various screens on tablets, phones, and laptops, watching our graduation ceremony. Listening to a speech that I recorded over a month ago. I mean, we all know the saying that the only thing constant in life is change. But when you real check, 2020 was real extra. Graduates, you know how long people complaining about UWI being pressure, UWI being stress, especially final semester? But we, the class of 2020, we had the pressure while living through the mid-2020 apocalypse, aka COVID-19 pandemic. I think we can agree that just having the year 2020 on our certificate is a special honor in itself. It's important for me, however, to reminisce on the normal times before March 2020. Like many of you, my decision to choose a subject from the humanities, from the creative arts specifically, was something I did out of passion and an inner vision that frankly most saw, are seeing, and will continue to see as odd. I think we can all relate to the strange faces that we sometimes get from people when we inform them of our field of studies. You see, for me, 50% of the challenge of the degree was the actual degree. The other half was developing the inner confidence to always remember the value of the degree in building our 21st century Caribbean civilization. I recall being completely surprised that I had arrived in Trinidad from St. Lucia to start my degree on the 28th of August, 2017. Truth be told, prior to that, I had begun to believe that my dreams of pursuing an undergrad degree in music wasn't going to take place. I recall spending years vainly applying to schools outside the region, hoping for a scholarship due to the high cost. But it was indeed that same Caribbean self-hate syndrome that I spoke of earlier that led me to overlook UWI, even when it became obvious that UWI provided a clearer path for a Caribbean youth to further his or her education. I thought I had settled for UWI, while in reality, I had taken a premier option. By now, it's well known that the 2019 Times Higher Education World University Rankings ranks the UWI among the top 5% of universities in the world. But what does such data have to do with our own experience? You see, to be UWI is to have affordable access to a premier higher education institution through numerous grants and scholarships like the UWI Open Scholarship, of which I was a recipient. To be UWI is to be Caribbean, gaining personal connections to all nations of CARICOM through halls of residence like the Freedom Hall where I resided. These halls are like a foretaste of the Caribbean civilization that our fathers of regional integration dreamt of. To be UWI, or to be part of the Department of Creative and Festive Arts specifically, is to be part of community. Not a statistic, not a cog in the wheel, but a person cared for and mentored by lecturers like Mr. Mori, Mrs. Ramlal, Mr. Sharma, and Mr. Villafana. To be UWI is to slip during class and be recorded doing so. Not because class is boring, but because the effects of late night assignments, rehearsals, and life tended to show its effects in the evening, which was unfortunately class time for us at DCFA. Fellow graduates, as we, the class of 2020, end this chapter and we go forth to build a post-COVID Caribbean society, it's important that we recognize that our disciplines in the humanities are more essential than ever before. Let's take strength from the words of the great Caribbean Nobel laureate, Sir Arthur Lewis, who said, and I quote, "A society without the arts is a cultural desert." In an era where CARICOM nations have some of the highest rates of homicide per capita in the world, it's clear that we have lost sense of what being human is. Always remember that through our studies, we have critically analyzed and practiced this act of being human and have learned to be educators of the new generation of Caribbean thinkers and creativities. We therefore hold keys to the solution. Let's not forget the words of David Rudder, who reminded us that little keys can open up mighty doors. This Caribbean symphony may seem to be going through a movement that is filled with much dissonance, but the work of Bach, Coltrane, Bugsy Sharp, Chit Samaru, and Luther Fassoir reminds us that chords of dissonance are destined to be resolved. So my fellow graduates, we are called to be composers of an era of consonance as we are the bearers of Caribbean language, culture, thought, and creativity. As Boudreaux would remind us, it is possible to still breathe despite being buried alive. We were buried by colonialism, but yet we still breathe. We have been buried by COVID-19, but we still breathe. We were buried by the challenges of UWI, and we still breathing. You see, we are the light rising from the west. Let's be proud bearers of that light. Let's be UWI. I thank you.
Sir, I now call on Professor Stephen Gift, Pro Vice Chancellor, Graduate Studies and Research, to present to you members of our society for the award of high degrees of this university.
So, I present to you these members of our society who, having fulfilled the requirements of this university, have been awarded postgraduate certificates, diplomas, and have been admitted to master's degrees, and beg that you recognize their advancement in our society.
By the authority vested in me, I confer on these persons whose names are about to be called master's degrees, postgraduate diplomas, and certificates of this university, and recognize their advancement in our society.
Lorna Merritt Charles, Jonathan Auguste. With distinction, Rachel Edwards, Arifa Satnarayan, Karen Henry, Andrea Ali, Sasha D'Souza, Anisha Fortune, Dacia Lopez, Francesca Sylvester. With distinction, Joanna Gomez. With distinction, Rhea Warner Myers, Keisha Julian. With distinction, Shanaz Mohammed, Brittany Nadur, Nicole Rivers, Adil Shah, Maluna Belfon Grant, Renee Mitchell, June Amin, Rihanna Khan, Jill Ann Walters Morris, Helen Forbes Huggins.
Sir, I present to you these members of our society who, having fulfilled the requirements of this university, have been admitted to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, and beg that you recognize their advancement in our society.
By the authority vested in me, I confer on these persons whose names are about to be called the degree of Doctor of Philosophy of this university, and recognize their advancement in our society.
With high commendation, Enid Jones Butcher, Shamela Lachmi Prasad, Sabrina Macmillan Solomon.
I now call on Mr. Jerry Medford, the UWI Alumni Association Trinidad and Tobago chapter, to join the graduates in reciting the Alumni Pledge.
Thank you, Council Chair. Members of the graduating class of 2020, on behalf of the UWI Alumni Association Trinidad and Tobago chapter, I extend congratulations to you on your successful transition from matriculation to graduation. May you continue to make us all proud as you pursue your careers with Pelican pride. And now, the Alumni Pledge. As a graduate of the University of the West Indies,
I commit myself to uphold the ideals and goals of my alma mater.
My conduct and voice shall reflect the commitment to excellence
of the light rising from the west.
as I fulfill my social and professional responsibility and serve my community and region.
I will strive to ensure the UWI as a Caribbean,
the catalyst of Caribbean development and leadership.
It is a legacy that I will proudly help build for future generations.
The University of the West Indies,
first in our past and first in our region.
This brings to a close the public ceremony by which the University of the West Indies has signalized the award of degrees, diplomas, and certificates to its graduates. Congratulations to the class of 2020.